The first step to embarking on a healing journey is to allow whatever that needs to come up in its own divine time. As I said previously, inner work cannot be forced. It's an intuitive process and will come up when it has to, and when the universe knows that you are ready, that you are strong enough, that you're open enough, that you are aware enough to do the inner work. But it's important when that openness, that invitation comes, that you allow whatever that needs to come up, right? Because so many people try to avoid feeling deep, overwhelming emotions because they know it's gonna hurt. Because they really, it's just their protection part, trying to keep them away from pain. However, it's so important to lean into those feelings. It's so important to lean into the numbness that comes from it and to notice what is underneath it. What is underneath the surface? What are you truly feeling? And when you allow the space for stillness and for silence, that's the most important thing when you're doing healing work or inner work, or you want to connect with your intuition, with your spirit guides. Always, always, always try to create the space for stillness and silence. And when you do, you are able to connect with your body again. Because in this masculine energy, in this doing, and in this avoiding of feeling the things that we need to feel, we become so disconnected with our bodies. So disconnected. And it's important to connect with it again. And when you create this space for stillness and silence, you reconnect with your body and you witness the inner work that needs to be done. You recognize it much, much easier and quicker, because your body will feel safe. When you are connected with your body, you are sending the message to your body that it is safe, that there is nothing to be scared about, that you will be okay. And your body then can relax. And when that happens, you open up more to your intuition, more to what is being sent to you in terms of invitations. And you create a container that it's safe for the inner work to be done. And you will notice resistance starting to dissipate. It's just starting to slowly fade away, because when your body, when your nervous system starts to feel safe, the protection parts that come up, which is how we react, don't have the necessity to come up, because it feels safe, it feels secure, it feels in control, right? So that helps the whole inner process to start happening, because it is only when we surrender to stillness and we become present in the here and now, in the being, that the universe can then step in and assist us. And that's only when we are able to hear it, right? In this stillness, in this space for silence, in the being. Because when we are in the doing, in the masculine energy, in the mind and with the noise, we just cannot hear it. We cannot hear it. And the universe needs to know that you're ready to hear it. It is important to recognize that healing is messy. I'm not saying this to scare you, but we buy into this illusion that healing is all this, angel voices and a bright white light coming from the sky, and we see all of these beautiful colors and this enlightenment, and you healed. No, it's not like this. There are no angel voices, and it's messy. It's messy, and we have to be aware of it. We buy into this illusion, but we have to be aware of it, because as human beings, we are imperfect, right? We are imperfect beings, and we will make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. So embarking on this healing journey and doing the inner work means acknowledging that you'll get it wrong, that you will let people down, and neither of it makes you as a person less worthy of being loved, of being successful. It's just a part of the human nature. And it's really important to be kind to yourself when doing the inner work and to not judge it. Because we are humans. It doesn't matter where you are in your healing journey. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you are more aware and doing your healing journey. We'll go through that. Because we are not perfect. Full stop. And leaning into this divine feminine work is very important, especially when we are trying to identify the inner work that needs to come up and for healing. It's really, really important. And this divine feminine work requires a lot of patience, requires a lot of kindness, a lot of mothering, a lot of nurturing. Because we recognize that we are not perfect and will make mistakes. And our first instinct is to be ashamed of it and to judge it. But when we embody more the divine feminine work, we are capable of being compassionate to ourselves. So we can do the inner work that's necessary for healing. And the only way to do that is surrendering and letting go. Because healing cannot be done, or the inner work cannot be done until we are ready to let go and to surrender. Because we all know that in order for something new to come in, it has to have the space to come in, right? Imagine a cup of water, and you start pouring the water. If you grab a hand of pebbles and you put it inside the cup, the capacity for the water to fill the cup will increase. And the more pebbles you put in, the less capacity the cup will have for the water. So seeing this analogy, the pebbles being the things that we are clinging on, the things that are not working for us, that are inside the cup, And the water being this new flow energy of new beginnings, of, rehabilitation, of healing that we want to pour inside our cup. The more pebbles we have, the less capacity we have for this new energy, new flowy water bliss to come inside the cup. So we know that as we heal, precious lessons are being revealed to us, and they need space to be integrated, to be processed. And the universe wants to make sure that you have the space, the time, and the energy to look after yourself, to fill your cup, right? So in order to heal, to be the best version of yourself, we have to allow ourselves to be reshaped and remapped along our path towards our journey. This journey that we've never were able to see before. It's just like the water. The water, if you look at it, it has no shape, right? You see the water in the rivers, you see the water in the ocean. If you pour water into a container or, a straw or anything, the water has this ability to be reshaped. And the new lessons that will teach us what is necessary to heal our karma and to heal, our wounded hearts, they need the space, whatever that looks like, for us to integrate those lessons. Just like the water, when it flows, no matter what container, what form it comes through, it will always reshape, but it needs the space for it. So we have to let go of what is just blocking the space, what is filling up necessary space in our hearts, in our lives, for this new healing energy to come through. And it's really important to remember that during this journey of healing, we will be faced with duality, because light cannot exist without darkness, and vice versa. Darkness cannot exist without light. So we need to be faced with the darkness within ourselves in order to find the enlightenment, the beautiful enlightenment that we all strive and the angels singing voices. But that is after we go through the darkness. And that is not bad. I wanted to remember that. That's not bad, going through the darkness. Because meeting your shadows only means embracing and loving the parts of yourself that you have been feeling ashamed of, that you've been judging yourself, that you've been rejecting. It's just accepting them. Give them love. Give it the attention it needs, the love that it needs, the nurturing that it needs. Is all that is. Meeting your shadows is all that is. We are the ones that unconsciously create this fear of facing it, because our brains will always remind us of painful past experiences or memories that are distorted. We have to remember it's distorted because the mind will always distort these memories based on our perceived perspectives. So it's not, even though we can remember things, we cannot trust what our brains is reminding us, because it's all distorted. And obviously that will make us avoid the pain and avoid the shadows. But when we remember that going through that darkness and meeting our shadows is just embracing and accepting the parts of us that we don't like and give them love, we have no reason to fear. Because healing is exactly about balancing these two dualities, this duality, these two energies, the darkness and the light, in whatever ways that resonate with you and how you are feeling. Surrendering and letting go was the first thing. And then is to become truly present and intention in all that you do. And what I always recommend is to consciously engage with the 3 healing pillars. There are 3 healing pillars, which is working on healing spiritually, cognitively, and practically. Because working with these 3 pillars will help you to embody the divine balance that we want here, for the healing that we seek, and to reclaim our power. And what power is that? The power of being healthy, of being at peace. Because ultimately is what we want, isn't it? When we seek healing, we just want to be healthy. Because if we are in a very unhealed situation and feeling very wounded, it will affect our mental health, and then will affect our physical health. So ultimately, what we truly seek when we embark on this healing journey is to feel healthy, with vitality, passionate about life again, motivated, energetic, and at peace with who we truly are and with our decisions and choices. That's what we all want. And although when it comes to healing, you cannot control the direction that this will go and how you will evolve and how you will expand as a soul being, you have to take the leap of faith. You have to trust the unknown and know that within that deep surrendering and openness to miracles, the universe can and will move mountains, and you'll get everything that you've dreamed of. But again, it's taking that leap of faith, is trusting in yourself and trusting in the universe that you are safe. And things happen because they have to happen. And, being so led as well, having that consistency, that being consistent with yourself, with your spiritual practices, and taking radical responsibility for your own healing, because again, there is no magic pill. You have the healing power within yourself to heal yourself. So it's taking that responsibility that you can do it, you get to choose to do it, and others are not responsible for it. The real test here, however, is really whether you trust yourself. Because sometimes the deep roots is exactly that: lack of trust in ourselves, lack of trust of, in the universe, in our spirit's guides. We don't trust that they will hold us in this journey, that they will keep us safe. So if you realize that that is one of the core beliefs that is holding you back, it's worth working on it. It's worth working on trusting yourself and the universe, and trusting that you will be safe, that you are held, right? One tool, I've talked about tools, and it's important that when we use spiritual tools to support our healing journey, we do it with meaning, with purpose. Otherwise, yes, we can do whatever we want. We can do as many spiritual practice as we feel called to, but that doesn't necessarily is moving us forward. And I think that is one of the reasons sometimes people start with a spiritual practice or start with this all vibe of healing and stuff, and then they think, oh, it's not working. I've tried this and I've tried that, and I don't see any improvement. And that is because first, they are not exercising patience, and second of all, is because they are not using the tools with meaning, with really pouring all the energy into it. And when it comes to healing, is working with these 3 healing pillars that I mentioned before. So one tool that I always go back to and that I use all the time, and for many years I've been using it since I was diagnosed with postnatal depression and chronic anxiety back in 2010, when, after I gave birth to my second son, one of the practices that allows you to work consciously, which is really important that it is done consciously, because when it's conscious, you putting the meaning into it. With these 3 healing pillars is, and doing the inner work, is journaling. And you know how much I love journaling and how much I find it important. That's why I create a lot of journals, and that's why I created a journaling deck, and that's why I give journaling workshops. Journaling is so underrated. It's so underrated, and it's so powerful. Because we don't realize we all have access to it. And it's so much powerful that most people give credit for. I think it's becoming more and more used, and you can see a lot of psychologists and therapists using journaling now a lot because it is very powerful. And again, when it's used with meaning, and as a conscious practice, it can shift a lot of things. Because when you journal, you are able to connect with your true soul essence, which is a spiritual pillar. And then as you work through your thoughts and you recognize cycles and patterns of behavior, and you recognize core self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back, you are then working consciously with the cognitive pillar, whilst you are consciously releasing onto paper in a very intimate and meditative practice that will help you to do the inner work in a safe container, which that's what we want, to tell our bodies that we are safe, to create that space for the inner work to come through. And that is the practical pillar, because you are taking action, intentional action, which is so important. So journaling works with the 3 healing pillars in a very conscious and safe level. And also journaling takes you through this journey of duality that we talked about, between the divine feminine energy and the masculine energy, the light and the darkness, the yin and the yang. And whilst working through the divine energy, feminine energy, it also allows you to do the shadow work. The shadow work is related with the feminine energy. So when you are journaling, you are moving through this divine feminine energy that allows shadow work to happen. And so through journeying through the darkness, then you find the light, bright energy within. So you move from the darkness into the light, and ultimately into the peace and healthy mindset that you are seeking. So because of that, I'm offering my Journaling to Find Yourself workshop, which is 1.5 hours long workshop, where I explain not only the spiritual side of it, but also the scientific importance of journaling. And I guide you on how you can do it with purpose, with meaning, and use it as a spiritual practice that will support your inner work. You get lifetime access to it. You can revisit again and again and again every time that you feel that invitation to heal and that you have to go move through it. And so normal price is £49, but I feel like it's so important to make it available and accessible for people to get the guidance needed to do their own healing journey. I'm offering for a limited time this workshop for £25. £25 directly delivered to your inbox. You can start digging into it straight away. And yeah, I have so many clients that enrolled this workshop already, and the feedback has always been very positive. They learn a lot about the psychological and scientific part of journaling, which is really important if you are a bit skeptic about, always being spiritual. But it's really important to understand that even science back it up. That's why psychologists and therapists use journaling as part of cognitive behavioral therapy, and how it has been used for so long, since the 1970s. And I explain all of that in the workshop. And I also teach about how you can connect with your inner voice and all of that in the workshop. So yeah, normally it's £49. For a limited time, it's 25. I'll put the link in the description